And none of us are, as he says, celebrating the fact that the guy almost died. That's not happening anywhere. So we were promised a demolition, and instead, so far, we've gotten a series of completely arbitrary and irrelevant straw men that bear not even a passing resemblance to any argument that anyone has ever actually made. Not a great start, but let's continue.
The video had 2 parts, right? So, but really 3 parts. One is not so bad. He's saying, look, it's a societally acceptable way of releasing some of the violent urges that people in society, and men in particular, have. That's not that wrong, right? But when they celebrate, the second part is celebrating like, oh, violence is a good thing, yeah, oh yeah, it's great. No, but wait, it doesn't have to be this violent. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. I'll just tell you real quick. Between 1900 and 1905, 45 different people died on the football field because it used to be even more violent. They would literally kill each other on the field. And guess what happened? The government stepped in. It was Teddy Roosevelt when he was president and said, I'm not gonna let you kill each other on the field like this. This is insane. You have to make it less violent. And you know what happened after that? It became way more popular because people didn't want to go see a sport and have people murder each other on the field. And so it doesn't mean it's going to be less popular. It doesn't mean it's going to be less of a sport or anything along those lines if you don't celebrate people like Damar Hamlin almost dying on the field.
So here we have Matt Walsh is reacting to the Young Turks reacting to a video he made about professional football player who almost died on the field, apparently. And he, people were up in arms saying, "Oh, football's too violent. We need to calm it down. It's teaching boys to become violent killers. Blah blah blah. All the usual stuff when something bad happens. Accidents happen, bad things do happen, and it is tragic. It does seem silly to get permanently damaged or even killed playing a sport. But people who play, or high-level sports, high-level athletes, yeah, they get injured, they get hurt, they die sometimes. It does happen, and it's just part of life. And the whole thing with Matt Walsh, when he was reacting to that situation, or he was commenting on that situation back then, saying that sports are a necessary, especially kind of violent sports, like football, which is a type of, what would you call an analog of war, sports like that are a very good way to channel the aggression of men in particular, especially young men. You can channel that aggression in a way which is useful. Just like, it's just like being in the army. You need people, you need men. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a fan or a supporter of women soldiers, for example. I think that's just a contradiction in terms. But you need men in the army who can do real violence when the time comes, when you need it. Because, of course, Mr. Young Turks there, Cenk, is just against violence. For him, violence is just beyond the pale. Well, sorry, Cenk. No, you need violence. Violence actually does solve a lot of problems. It solves a lot of problems. When you have the right kinds of problems, the right kinds of violence can solve that problem right away. Now, it doesn't mean you should be violent all the time in all situations. Obviously not. But it has a place, yeah, in various levels of society. In fact, society is held together by the threat of violence, obviously, if anybody thinks about it. So anyway, the Young Turks are trying to talk shit about Matt Walsh. Now Matt Walsh is... Let's see what he has to say about Cenk's reaction.
Oh, okay, I get it. So this is... I see what's happening here. This is the exact opposite of a demolition. Actually, he agrees with my argument, but is trying to find a way to disagree with it. He concedes my point about football being a healthy outlet for male aggression. That was essentially my entire point. So if he will admit that I'm right, or in his words, not that wrong, then there's not much else to talk about. But he keeps talking anyway, even after having long since run out of anything relevant to say, as is his custom. He observes that football used to be a lot more violent than it is today. If that sounds familiar, it's probably because I made the exact same point in the very monologue he's attempting to rebut. That's what I said. It's the left-wing media that tried to turn Damar Hamlin into a conversation about football's increasing violence. Remember, a White House reporter asked the president about is football becoming too dangerous? As I said in that segment, football is actually becoming much less dangerous. If there was a time to have a national dialogue about the violence in football, it was 50 years ago or 100 years ago. Today, it's about as non-violent as it can possibly be while still remaining something resembling the sport as it was originally designed. The Hamlin injury, if it was a football injury, was the result of a routine football play that was by no means especially violent or brutal. There would be no way to take that play out of the game without turning it into two-hand touch or flag football, which is why, once again, it makes no sense to use Damar Hamlin as a jumping-off point for a discussion about the violence of the sport. It has nothing to do with the violence of the sport. It was a basic, normal tackle. That's all it was. It was a not especially violent play in a sport that has become less and less violent with each passing year. That was my point, a point that Cenk restates while pretending to rebut. But now it's time for the woman on the panel to chime in, and she's the one, okay, this is where they're setting her up, okay, they're teeing her off, and this is where the real demolition is going to happen. She's going to set me straight. Let's listen.
Okay, so the crux of his argument is women shouldn't have a say because men are the ones that have violent urges and you chicks don't get it. You chicks don't get the violent urges that we have that we need to get out, which I almost can see, like, I'm a cis woman and I am raising, apparently so far as I know, a cis baby. I've been raising a cis son for 2 years. And there are, like, yeah, I totally get that there are like male things that are ingrained in him. I would actually almost accept that argument from this tool shed if I knew that he had no opinions on abortion, female reproductive rights, the price of tampons, you know, maternity leave. If he shut his stupid bearded pie hole about any of those things that he literally as a man does not understand about being a woman, then I might accept his argument. But I know this bearded douche nozzle has so much to say about women that he knows nothing about. So for him to turn around and be like, women, I don't even want to hear from you because you guys just don't. Shut up. Shut your stupid, dumb pie hole, you dime store Justin Thoreau.
Oh my God. Who on earth is that woman? I've never seen her on the Young Turks. Oh my God. I guess I haven't been watching over the years. She was like a living meme, a living leftist woke-tard meme. I am a cis woman, and I am raising an apparently cis baby. It's like, oh my God. Are you for real, woman? She's perfect. She's a perfect one to get a rise. I can hardly wait to hear what Matt Walsh has to say about this. I'm sure he's very concerned about the price of tampons, by the way.
Lady, listen, if you want to be included in the football conversation, you're not helping your case here. You're so emotional, you can barely see straight. Calm down, Cupcake. Take a breath. You're being hysterical. Okay, can you imagine trying to watch a game and this woman comes running in? You're trying to watch the game. Let me tell you about my cis baby. My God, shut up. Now, as to your points, if anything in that rambling, stuttering pile of words can be described as a point, I would say this. First of all, I do not now have, nor have I ever had, an opinion about the price of tampons. I don't even know how much they cost. I couldn't tell you. Is it $3 a tampon? I don't know. 30 cents? I do have an opinion about abortion and other reproductive, quote unquote, reproductive issues, because as a man, I am 50% involved in reproduction. It is as much my issue as it is yours. I was also once an unborn baby. So if you want reproduction to be a woman's issue, you need to figure out a way to reproduce entirely without the involvement of a male member of the species. Until you do that, this is our issue as much as it is yours. So you got to deal with that. And actually, let me clarify that. You have to figure out a way to reproduce without a male member of the species and also to reproduce yourself. Because if you're reproducing and making another person, then already it's not just your issue because there's another person involved. So no matter what, in reproduction, there are other people involved. It's not just you. Second, to clarify, I don't disregard your opinion about football. I don't. I disregard your opinion about everything, including football. Not because you're a woman, but because you use the phrase cis baby. That automatically, I want you to understand this, that automatically invalidates everything you will ever say about anything ever. Not that on this topic you actually have much to say in the first place. You've yet to approach anything that might be called an argument, but still. Everything is out the window now because you talked about your cis baby. But anyway, you know what? We'll listen for another minute to give you one last chance to put together some kind of argument. Let's go.
He's just saying women, what, are not intelligent enough to understand football? What do you mean they can't understand
Yeah,
it?
there's literally,
it's not that complicated.
There's literally posted rules. Like you can Google the rules of football, and anyone with like basic level of intelligence cannot. There's literally a list of rules and go, okay, I understand.
Yeah,
you watch, you read the rules, you watch one game and go, I get it, I get it. It's not magic. It's not magic. You know, it's not like, are men not allowed to watch gymnastics or baking? Or like this is the most sexist, going both ways, sexist argument from the dumbest douche nozzle.
Okay, this is what tells me that not only are you unable to understand football, but apparently you also don't understand English. I didn't say that women can't comprehend the rules of football. I mean, you probably can't, which is why you're sitting there Googling it. What I said quite clearly from the context is that women generally don't understand, don't relate to the desire to watch, much less participate in, violence as entertainment. Males understand violence as entertainment in a way that women don't, just like my wife understands the appeal of Gilmore Girl reruns in a way that I don't. The urge to seek outlets for that sort of physical aggression is something that males experience and relate to much more than females. There are exceptions, but the exceptions are exceptions. That's why we call them exceptions.
All right. Boy, that woman, she's hilarious. They should get her back on the Young Turks. But honestly, it looked like Cenk and the other guy, the Young Turks, were even fed up with her. What an utter, the perfect example of woke tardery, left-tard nonsense, libtard, you know, straw manning, she was everything. She was the whole package when it comes to libtardery and wokeism. And Matt Walsh, of course, is very well spoken. He's putting her in her place. Quite amusingly, I must say. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I thought that was a pretty good takedown, pretty good smackdown by Matt Walsh of the Young Turks and whoever that woman was. I don't even want to know what her name is. Anyway, in the meantime, please like and subscribe. It really helps me grow the channel and keep making content for you.